All right, here we go in 10 seconds. We got a caller, too.
Ready to go. Thanks, man. Thanks, sir. You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. We just fired up the television show. Please join us on YouTube live events or a Google Plus hangout near you. We're streaming live video, and it's a beautiful, glorious day in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. Join us and talk to us a little bit about what we have here in the United States of America. We have sexual misconduct among our famous men, and many of them are simply leaving public life quickly. There's been somebody else, another person who has stepped forward to accuse Al Franken. Al Franken, there is no need to pursue the question, okay, is there proof? There are pictures. They're pictures. So there is no real need to do that. So the question is, okay, so what do we do? Why is it that women, oh, Jay, call me back. I was coming back. I was just coming to see you. He teaches karate. Jay was calling us. Where was Jay calling us from? Mike, do you remember?
I can't remember the city. It's Arizona, though.
It's somewhere in Arizona. He was listening on 12:30 a.m. Thanks very much, Jay. I appreciate it. He teaches karate. He teaches karate to women, and apparently it's hard. He says it's like pulling teeth. Is it really? There are things that women can do, but they have to understand that a man standing very close to them is as big a threat as you can possibly imagine. That's the first thing you have to get through your mind. You have to have some kind of way to deal with that. They teach us in our self-defense courses, they teach us that anybody within 21 feet is close enough to keep you from being able to draw a gun. So if he's standing 2.1 feet away, what does that tell you? To me, what it tells you is that women are not being trained adequately to be able to deal with men, which may be why men are teaching them and dealing with them so poorly. So little respect shown to women. It's unbelievable. Again, our telephone number is 844-927-6691. Now, there's something else about this story that I think is interesting. There's an English singer named Morrissey. He is today defending both Kevin Spacey and Harvey Weinstein. In an interview, he claims that their alleged victims knew exactly what was going on and chose to play along. Afterwards, they feel embarrassed or they don't like it. This, by the way, in an interview with the German news outlet Der Spiegel. So if they're embarrassed or they don't like it, they turn it around and say, I was attacked, I was surprised, I was dragged into the room. Spacey and Weinstein have each been accused of sexual harassment by more than a dozen men and women. Morrissey said is apparently in both men's corners, saying people knew exactly what was going on with Harvey Weinstein. He said that those people knew that when they were in the company of Harvey Weinstein, that he tended to get handsy, and they went along with it. Is that good enough? Don't know. I do not know, but I am interested in finding out. 844-927-6691. 844-927-6691. Sexual harassment in the United States and beyond. You're listening to the Wells Report.
All right.
Not a bad hour.
Yeah, I don't know why that guy hung up so quick.
Wish he hadn't done that.
Yeah, maybe he'll hear you and call back.
Whatever. That was nice, though, to be called. Okay, thank you very much, sir. Stand by.
All right.
Woo! What are you thinking, buddy? Yes, I'm listening. Oh. Competition is a good thing. No, well, I told him. Yep. Okay. Right. Okay. I mean, I can reach out to them. That sounds like something I would be interested in doing, so we can definitely do it here. And then if you want, then I can give you some contacts over to WBAP that maybe Croc or someone would be interested in. Um, it is the yes, Thomas Henry Eric, PHILIP, Brown at gmail.com. It is. It's on USA Radio Network. It's the Wells Report. So yes, yeah. Well, he used to be. He was on case. He was on 660, and then he was on. Before that, he was on KLIF. So we just like today is my right. Well, no, we're on USA Radio right now, but like today is legitimately my first day. Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh no, I still have a good relationship with Croc. Yeah, and I call it. Yeah, I'll send it. You know, we could probably do something. Maybe they could do something. Yeah, I'll send it to Croc, or if you want, I tell you, who's really good friends with Croc is Todd Tremont. Yeah.
Okay.
So I will. Okay. Yeah. 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 You know what? I'll just forward you. It may not be until later, but I will give you Croc's info. Yeah, I'll just text you his number with us. So, and then tell him if you tell him you know myself and Todd, then you'll be okay. Like who's this? Yeah, he's not gonna be like who's this weird guy getting my number? He'll be like, oh, okay, someone who. Yeah.
All right, we're back in 1 minute.
One damn minute.
Oh, just taking the class so far, yes.
Mike, were you trying to text me, man? I just got my phone and
It
I
was
saw.
before the show.
Yeah, I saw. Hey, Mike. I saw. Hey, Mike. This is JD. JD, this is Mike? Is this JD? Hello. Test 1 2 5 5 4 3 2 1. Okay.
Hey, I got Jay back on the line.
Oh, cool. All right, let's talk to him a little bit here. That was really cool, man. Thanks. All right. North to south, coast to coast. This is the Wells Report. Hi, my name is John David Wells. Thanks very much for joining us. We are here ready to go for another week of serious news discussions. We should spend a lot of time doing that because, these issues are not going away, no matter how much I wish they would. Telephone number again is 844-927-6691. That's 927-6691, 844-927-6691. Want to thank Jay for calling us back from KATO 1230 AM. Thanks very much for listening, Jay, and welcome to the Wells Report.
Oh, thank you.
So you're a karate instructor.
I listen. Yes.
Cool deal.
I have been for many years. It's been in my family for 85 years.
Well, that's incredible.
Collectively, my father taught it to me and then my brother. For years, we watched him study the arts, and then one day we marched ourselves up to him and pronounced that we wanted to do it too.
There you go. What kind of karate is it? Taekwondo? What do you do?
It's called
Kempo.
Kenpo, Kenpo.
Kempo. I know about that. Yeah. Fantastic, man. Great job. So you're still teaching?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And do you have many females that come to learn?
Yes, we do. And they learn really well because in our system of defense, we use nerve centers and pressure points, and the attacker's weight and anger against themselves. So it doesn't take weight, to stop anybody.
Takes quickness.
So, yes.
Quickness, leverage.
The main thing that it teaches, right. And the main thing it teaches is to be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
A lot of people walk around like they're asleep, and that's where the attacker takes control. So, when it's often when I'm going into town at night, I see young ladies walking alongside the street by themselves.
Yep.
And you know, and that, you know, they should use, you know, better intelligence on trying to protect themselves and just go walking around like that.
I happen to agree completely, Sensei. Thanks very much for your time. I appreciate it. God bless you. And thank you very much for that good work that you do. So let's talk a little bit about somebody that has been walking down the road, not necessarily alone, but for a long time. The headline, Liz Peek has written this article from Fox News. The headline is Hillary is toast. Scandals finally catch up with Clinton's. Is that true? Are these various scandals finally catching up with the Clintons? Are we living through the end of the Clinton era? And is that a good thing? You might want to think about that second question just a little bit longer before you reflexively say, oh, I can hardly wait until those people are gone. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I hear you, but think about this for just a minute. One of the things that we're seeing today in the news cycle, in this, shall we say, rejuvenated outrage about sexual misconduct, is a redo of the sexual misconduct of Bill Clinton. Remember the sexual misconduct currently being levied against Roy Moore takes it all the way back to the 70s, the late 70s. Bill Clinton's escapades are somewhat more recent. So when we start thinking about these sex scandals and so on of Bill Clinton, then we have to start thinking about the fact that maybe what ended up happening is that the left got it wrong. The mainstream media, the Clinton News Network, et cetera, just plain got it wrong. As a matter of fact, the New York Times' Ross Douthat now thinks that Bill Clinton should have stepped down over the Monica Lewinsky affair. Remember what they were saying about Kenneth Starr? Remember what they were saying? That it was just sex? It wasn't even harassment. You know what it was? It was harassment. Yes. It wasn't harassment. It was harassment. Really, it's just harassment. Harassment. It wasn't just sex. That's all it was. It's ridiculous. They're trying to get a man to resign over just sex. Well, certainly the participant was willing. Let's put it this way. There's no doubt about it. And to a degree, I understood, at least what I believed, was obviously that Hillary had some idea that this was going on, that this was one of the proclivities of her husband, that they had a deal, and therefore it was none of the people's business one way or another. A happy president is a good president in my view, and that's what I said at the time, and that's what I still say. However, when Bill Clinton went into federal court and lied about his relationship with Monica Lewinsky, that is when a high crime and misdemeanor actually took root. And that is indeed something that the president should have dropped off the radar on. Should he have resigned his presidency? There is a very serious discussion to be had there. But remember, you couldn't talk about it before. I mean, you had to stay as far away from it as you possibly could. Douthat said he came up with a mea culpa op-ed. He confessed that he and others may have been wrong to dismiss Bill Clinton's indefensible behavior. That may be, according to this article from Liz Peek, the official political obituary for Clinton Incorporated. Hillary Clinton is done, finished kaput, dogged by scandals old and new, out of step politically. Her excess baggage has morphed into an entire baggage train, dragging her toward political oblivion. While it's refreshing to consider the landscape unadorned by Clintons, Republicans will miss her. Only Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid have contributed as generously to GOP fundraising efforts in recent years, or so energized voters. Oh, by the way, don't forget Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer's still in the wheelhouse of his career. So there you go. Let me get to Johnny in Batcher, Arizona. Johnny, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Wells Report. Hello.
Thank you very much, John. I just got to say, what happened with Monica and Bill, that should just be between Bill and Hillary.
I agree. I mean,
he sleeps with her, and she sleeps with him. It's between them,
As far as, I agree with you completely, Johnny, except what about when he lied about it in that federal deposition in federal court? What about that? Doesn't it bother you that a president would lie in federal court? I mean, even get caught at it?
Well, from what I understand, all the past presidents, they had women coming in the back door of the White House, too.
Now, make no mistake, that indeed did happen. Certainly, John Kennedy's escapades were notorious, but it was either it was a different world then, or something was dramatically different. What do you think it was, Johnny? Why did JFK get away with it? Why doesn't Bill Clinton? And Bill Clinton did get away with it for a long time. Some people say he's still getting away with it. But what do you suppose the difference is?
That John F. Kennedy ended in a tragedy, being assassinated, and everybody's just like, poor guy, he was the greatest president we ever had. And
yeah, you think the tragedy of it all saved Kennedy?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah, I hear what you mean. Johnny, I get that. I truly do. I understand that. Come on, it's Bill and Hillary's business. If you're in a position where you have had a particular fling or what have you, and you've dealt with your significant other, your mate, your spouse, your wife, your husband, and if everybody has gotten to the end of that with a satisfactory notion that they understand, and everybody forgives everybody, and so on and so forth, it's nobody's business. You've already dealt with it. It's adults in private. It's consenting adults in private. And you leave them alone. The only reason I bring up Bill Clinton at all is for two reasons. One, Bill Clinton has several women who cast aspersions on his sexual character. There are 4 of them. Some allege that he raped them. The reason I bring that up is because Roy Moore is in that same position. As there is no proof, apparently there is no proof between these 4 women who accuse President Clinton of rape. There is also no proof, no real serious evidence that Roy Moore committed misconduct with these other women either. Look, the only difference in any of this, the only difference is that Bill Clinton lied about it in court. I mean, when you start talking about Al Franken, Al Franken's in a situation where, again, there's proof. So Al Franken's situation is different. Al Franken has handled it well. He said, you know what, I was absolutely wrong. I am so sorry that this happened this way. I'm so sorry these women feel this way. Please forgive me. I will do my best to fix it. He's the one that called for his own Senate ethics hearing. I think that speaks well of him. I do. It does bother me that these women have waited 40 years to say something about Roy Moore. It does bother me that women wait a decade before they say something about Al Franken. But as we've discussed on this broadcast, I'm still trying to figure out where that really fast, sharp slap went. That one terribly embarrassing, quick, almost defenseless, and certainly undefensible move by a woman toward a malfunctioning man where a right or left hand comes zipping by in a short arc to create a stinging slap resonating in the room, drawing everyone's attention. Just in time to hear the woman say, "How dare you?" Where did that go? How come we don't see that anymore? That ought to be out there. But here's Russ Douthat saying, what if Kenneth Starr was right? What if Bill Clinton should have resigned after his escapades with Monica Lewinsky? What about all of that? As we unwrap this in the new context of Harvey Weinstein and others, Donald Trump, Roy Moore, et cetera, et cetera. What if Kenneth Starr was right? That's what we talk about next on the Wells Report. This is the USA Radio Network. Ooh, I hit that one right on the button.
All right.
Oh, my goodness. Come on, that was goodish.
Yeah. So are you going to be out on Thursday and Friday?
Yes, we are all going to take the days off on Thursday and Friday.
Okay. So have they talked to you about what you're going to use for those days?
I do not know. The only thing that I can say is, please work with Mr. Christopher on that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, and please remember, try to make me sound as good as possible.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll do that because I'm not gonna be here Thursday, but I'll be here Friday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll definitely help him he'll be here Thursday, so we'll get it put together.
That'll be awesome, man. Thank you very much. And then the Philip Brown started today, so what'll happen is that we'll get all that worked out.
Okay.
And take some of that off your hands.
All right, cool.
So that we can just send that stuff to you.
Okay, awesome.
So we're starting to get rolling now here.
Well, that's good.
Fantastiki.
All right, well, I'm here if you need me, man. Just holler.
Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Apparently, the countdown clock had me starting at 4 p.m. today instead of 2 p.m. Remember that countdown clock thing we brought up last week?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, it's still screwed up, kind of.
Oh yeah. We'll get somebody. We're trying to get somebody to help. We're kind of limited staff right now.
I got it.
We're trying to get somebody to help. The guy who initially put that up is trying to get with our IT people to get all that straightened out. It might take a day or two.
Got it.
But no sweat, we'll definitely get it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
No sweat. You're back in 30 seconds.
Back in 30 seconds.
All right, here we go in 10.
10 seconds. You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 866-660-5759. So a new narrative may be forming for the age of Harvey Weinstein and Donald Trump. In this story, Kenneth Starr, the Republicans are still dismissed as partisan witch hunters, but liberals might be willing to concede that the Lewinsky affair was a pretty big deal morally, a clear abuse of sexual power, for which Clinton should have probably been pressured to resign. The new narrative lines up with what's often been my own assessment, this Russ Dothit, of the Clinton scandals. I've never been a Clinton hater. Indeed, I've always been a little mystified by the scale of Republican dislike for the most centrist of reasoned and recent Democrat leaders. So I've generally held that I've considered a sensible middle ground position on his sins, that he should have stepped down, when Lewinsky came to light, but that the Republican effort to impeach him was a hopeless attempt to legislate against dishonor. No, it was an attempt to point out that a president lying in a federal court is bad. But a moment of reassessment is a good thing, good time to reassess things for yourself. So I spent this week reading about the lost world of the 1990s. I skimmed the Starr Report. I leafed through the books by George Stephanopoulos and Joe Klein, also by Michael Isikoff. I dug into Troopergate and Whitewater and other first-term scandals. I reacquainted myself with Jennifer Flowers and Webb Hubbell, James Riotti, and Mark Rich. After doing all the reading, I'm not sure my reasonable middle ground is actually reasonable. It may be that the conservatives of the 1990s were simply right about Clinton, that once he failed to resign, he really did deserve to be impeached. And everybody says, gosh, I'll be so glad when the Clintons are gone. Is that a good thing for everyone, that we might be at the end of the Clinton road? I'm not so sure. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio is heading a political fundraiser in Iowa next month. Uh-oh. That's a visit sure to stoke 2020 speculations for one of the country's most prominent liberal office holders. Can you imagine Bill de Blasio as the president of the United States? Kiss the country goodbye. Seriously. What would it be like to be in a country with a president that was much better looking, much taller, much handsome, a much more handsome version of Bernie Sanders, with a much more malevolent interest in socialism as a way of life for everyone, as opposed to just a passing fancy for Bernie Sanders? De Blasio, who was elected to a second term as mayor earlier this year, will be featured as the featured guest for Progress Iowa's holiday party fundraiser. This in the Temple for the Performing Arts in Des Moines. Iowans are speaking out and showing up to fight back against what conservatives are doing to their state and our country, said de Blasio. Standing up for quality public education. There is no such thing. Access to health care. And to make sure working families get a fair shot at matters in Iowa and New York. I can't wait to discuss those ideas and how we can work together in December. By the way, make sure working families get a fair shot at matters in in Iowa and New York. Get a fair shot. That's communism. Everybody does a fair day's pay, for a fair day's work. Everybody gets a fair shot, fair deal. Yeah, everybody's everybody. Welcome to communism. Visits to Iowa, which hosts the first of the nation caucuses by nationally prominent politicians, are frequently read as moves to test the waters of a presidential run. De Blasio said he will not run for president in 2020, pledging to, during the mayoral campaign last month, to serve his full term if reelected. Yeah, we'll see. The end of the Clinton road. Does that mean that we're going to see a socialist German, like a German socialist Democrat party like they have there? Is that what we're going to see in the United States? Is that where the Democrat Party is morphing to, a non-American party based on communism and socialism? Well, I sure hope not. I sure hope not. You're listening to the Wells Report. Stay where you are. Telephone number is 844-927-6691. Use that to get through to this broadcast on the USA Radio Network.
Alrighty, sir.
Alrighty, sir. Okie dokie.
So should I get with let me write this down. What was your guy's name again?
The Philip Brown.
The Philip. I knew it was
the Philip Brown.
Yeah, I made sure to include the "the." It's like a surname. I mean, the is like a surname.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Is he the one going to be taking? Is he who I should send, like, if I have audio to or something like that?
Actually, it's probably going to be the other way around. We'll probably end up sending you stuff like that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Don't know yet.
All right.
But we will give it a shot. You know what I mean?
Awesome. That'll work. All right. Well, I'm here if you need me, man. I'm going to try to edit a couple things during the break.
Cool, man.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I say man a lot.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. I have no problem with that. I was not mocking.
Okay. Yeah. No sweat. All right, back in 10 seconds, sir.
10 dang seconds. You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 844-927-6691. For reasons that have mystified me mostly, there is a lively movement afoot to impeach President Donald Trump. I think there's an impeachment idea out there because the people that are standing up and trying to impeach this good man, it seems to me that what they're doing is they're trying to reverse the results of a perfectly fair, perfectly legal, perfectly American presidential election. And it seems to me that in so doing, they are pursuing an un-American course. Un-American to the point where they really need to reevaluate. Steve Cohen, Luis Gutierrez, Al Green, Marcia Fudge, and Adriano Espiat. They've written an article. It's in, I believe it's USA Today. Yeah. There are many uncontested facts that suggest that President Trump is an extraordinary threat to our democracy and our constitutional order. We see no reason for delay. They want to impeach this guy, and nobody knows why. The Constitution provides the House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment, and that the president shall be removed from office on impeachment for high crimes and misdemeanors. The House Judiciary Committee, when it considered articles of impeachment against former President Richard Nixon in 1974, addressed the question of what constitutes a high crime. Such impeachable offenses need not be limited to criminal acts, but should include the constitutional wrongs that subvert the structure of government or undermine the integrity of the office and even the Constitution itself, and are thus high offenses. Well, this depends on what you're talking about. This depends on your particular points of view. Several of the president's actions, according to these people, are high crimes and misdemeanors because what they've done, what he's done, subverts the structure of government and undermines the integrity of the office or even the Constitution itself. I'm trying to figure out just exactly what they're talking about. Here's a president that speaks his mind. He speaks his mind. He's straightforward. That's not the First Amendment, right? It is the First Amendment? Yeah, that's what I thought. First Amendment, therefore, hey, the president does have his First Amendment rights to say whatever it is that he wishes. The president, they go on to say that the president was not just simply inappropriate or wrong. He threatened to undermine the fundamental constitutional structure, the national security, and the democracy. He did? In light of this, we have introduced the articles of impeachment against Trump and called for immediate impeachment hearings. Why? What are you guys doing? I mean, this is political suicide. The articles address a range of Trump's actions from obstruction of justice, where, in violation of the Constitution's foreign and domestic emoluments clauses. There's that word again. Emolument. EMOULEMUNT. I really would like. Can you look that up? Emoluments. Can we determine what an emolument is? The articles range about all kinds of Trump actions, from obstruction of justice in violation of the Constitution's foreign and domestic emoluments clauses. Emoluments. The emoluments clauses. I'm trying to figure out just exactly what they mean. Candace in Rockford, Illinois, thanks very much for joining us. Welcome to the Wells Report. Hello.
Good afternoon. I wanted to chip in here on this Article 2, Section 4. I just finished teaching that last week to my high school homeschoolers. And Article 4, Section 2 says that you can impeach. The House, like you said, originates impeachment, but it's for bribery, treason, and other high crimes and misdemeanors.
Right.
Now, there is no bribery. If Trump, they've tried the Russia thing, that is a no bribery, no treason, and a high crime and a misdemeanor you just covered on the air.
Right.
If you don't have those things in place, you can't impeach someone just because you don't like him.
That's exactly right.
I get it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. By the way, an emolument is a compensation for services or from employment or office. It's also been said to mean advantage or benefit. An emolument? What emoluments have Bill Clinton taken advantage of? He doesn't even collect a paycheck. Candace in Rockford, Illinois, thanks very much for joining us. So that's it. Foreign and domestic emoluments clauses. In other words, somebody's trying to buy him off from offshore. That's something we know the Democrats are doing. I mean, they had a great big party to do it. So I don't see that it's emoluments. I'm not saying that it's pay that's the big issue here. With regard to obstruction of justice, we already know that Trump fired former FBI Director James Comey. That while the Bureau was investigating potential collusion between Russia and the Trump campaign, the president had already admitted on national television that he had the Russian investor on his mind. That's when he fired Comey, when he realized that, hey, you know what, the Russian investigation, was clearly something that was political, clearly something that was partisan. You can't have an FBI director who's partisan. We also know that Donald Trump Jr. met with a Russian attorney, which turned out to be an even bigger nothing, insofar as the only thing that she had to offer was some sort of political policy matter that had nothing to do with what she was trying to sell before the meeting. Let's see here. Let me, this is their smoking gun. While the Federal Bureau of Investigation was investigating possible collusion between Russia and the Trump campaign, the Trump admitted on national television that he had fired Comey. We also know that Donald Trump Jr. met with a Russian authority And that Russian authority threatened to provide damaging information about Hillary Clinton as part of the Russian government's efforts to help his father's campaign. These facts are uncontested, but they're also incomplete. The other thing you need to know about all those deals and wheels and so on and so forth that you say were turning is that Donald Trump turned them all down. And these people go on and on and on. Simply uncontroverted facts support the charge the president has violated the foreign and domestic emolument clauses. Unlike all of his modern predecessors, Trump has refused to release his tax return or divest his assets or place them into a blind trust. As a result, foreign governments and even the United States of America have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars at Trump-branded properties, which Trump continues to have an ownership interest. In other words, they're talking about the summer White House. You know, the president of the United States has to live somewhere. And wherever he lives, there are certain things that they do to those buildings to make them safer, to protect the president's life in them. And they're saying that because he has all these wonderful properties, after all, before he came to the presidency, the man was a real estate developer. He's going to have properties. And now they're trying to turn that into a basis of impeachment. This is nothing more than a slow motion leftist political coup against the president of the United States. These people, honestly, need to be called down. They need to be called down, and they need to perhaps resign themselves. And it's time for them to get busy. And this talk about impeachment, stop it. Stop it. My question for this is it time for those calling for the impeachment of President Trump to sit down and shut up? I would say absolutely yes. Is it time for those calling for the impeachment of President Trump? Let me try that again. Is it time for those calling for the impeachment of President Trump to sit down and shut up? I would say yes. Long past time, indeed. Long past time. So I don't know. I keep looking at this and I keep looking at this and I keep looking at this, and I think it's absolutely epically, terribly dumb. And I think that indeed it's going to cause the Democrats all number and terrible things about what will be very painful futures for all of them. And I really have a tough time. I have a tough time seeing these people try to take the presidency away from somebody who was absolutely legally elected. That we have the somehow impeachment of the president to live through in this country. It's just heartbreaking. I mean, I really need Americans to stand up and say, hey, you know, this government is so far out of control, so far out of control. They truly do need to stand down. Stand down and back off. I have told people who voted for Donald Trump to remember they have to keep voting for Donald Trump. They have to keep voting for him. You don't get to just vote for this president once. You have to vote for him 2 or 3 times a day sometimes. And if you do not, who will stand in his stead? Jeb Bush? I mean, who's going to do this? Coming up in just a couple of seconds, there was this now famous hot mic quote between Senator Jeff Flake and one of his colleagues listening to Trump and Moore speak. Outspoken Republican Jeff Flake of Arizona heard on a hot mic saying the Republican Party would be toast if it's identified like figures of President Trump and Alabama Republican Roy Moore. Wow. All we can say is this. We have a certain circumstance where there's a left-wing coup going after the presidency of the United States, a president we elected.
All right, sounding good.
Thank you, sir. Oh, no.
What's that?
8 women say longtime TV host Charlie Rose sexually harassed them with nudity, groping, and lewd calls.
Oh, man.
The women told the Washington Post that Rose made unwanted and sexual advances toward them, including lewd phone calls, walking around naked in their presence, or groping at their breasts, buttocks, and genital areas.
Oh, man.
Rose is 75. The Charlie Rose Show airs on PBS. Also co-hosts CBS This Morning, is a corresponding contributor for 60 Minutes.
Man, this stuff is never going to end.
Boy, this is bad.
Yeah.
Wow. Charlie Rose. Wow.
Wow, I just Googled sexual harassment allegations and a bunch of stuff come up.
What did you see?
Just a whole bunch of different people. Jeffrey Tambor, NPR, have sexual harassment. Have we reached a cultural turning point?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
I would say yes. I would say yes.
New York Times journalist Glenn Thrush suspended after sexual harassment.
Yep. That happened over the weekend.
Golly, if anybody's ever done anything, they better be watching out because it's going to come back and get them right now.
Wow. Wow, man. I was talking about sexual harassment. I said, is sexual harassment just a tool to get rid of successful guys who've had long careers? Apparently that's the case.
Yeah, now it is. I'll tell you what,
where were they that they could be around Charlie Rose when he was naked?
Good question.
I mean, I'm sorry. Huh?
Good question.
I guess maybe kind of like the Harvey Weinstein where he invited him over.
I went, a friend of ours, an ex-friend of ours, very ex, turned out to be a swinger. We didn't know it. We had no idea that he was a swinger. that he and his wife were swingers, that all of their friends were swingers. And it was like, huh? I mean, really, when we found out Susan was pregnant, right?
Here we go. Come back in 5.
I'm ready. You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. By the way, we were just sitting here peacefully minding our own business when all of a sudden something came through. The Washington Post is now reporting that 8 women say Charlie Rose sexually harassed them with nudity, groping, and lewd telephone calls. 8 women have told the Washington Post that longtime television host Charlie Rose made unwanted sexual advances toward them, including lewd phone calls, walking around naked in their presence, or groping their breasts, buttocks, or genital areas. The women were employees or aspired to work for Rose at the Charlie Rose Show from the late 1990s to as recently as 2011. They ranged in age from 21 to 37 at the time of their alleged encounters. Rose, whose show airs on PBS, also co-hosts CBS This Morning and is a contributing sponsor for 60 Minutes. There are striking commonalities in the accounts of the women, each of whom described their interaction with Rose in multiple interviews with the Post. For all the women, reporters interviewed friends, colleagues, or family members who said the women had confided in them about the specifics of the incidents. 3 of the 8 spoke on the record. 5 of the women spoke on the condition of anonymity out of fear that Rose's stature in the industry, his power over their careers, or his just plain volatile temper. In my 45 years in journalism, I have prided myself on being an advocate for the careers of women with whom I have worked, Rose said. Nevertheless, in the past few days, claims have been made about my behavior towards some former female colleagues. It is essential that these women know that I hear them. I deeply apologize for my inappropriate behavior. I'm greatly embarrassed. I have behaved insensitively at times. I accept responsibility for that. Though I do not believe all of these allegations are accurate, I've always felt that I was pursuing shared feelings, even though now I realize I was mistaken. I have learned a great deal as a result of these events. I hope others will too. All of us, including me, are coming to a newer and deeper recognition of the pain caused by conduct of the past and have come to a profound new respect for women and their lives. Charlie Rose? Charlie Rose is a very old man. Charlie Rose is old. Okay? Charlie Rose. Let's see how old Charlie actually is. Well, he's not that old. He just looks really, 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 really old. He's 75. Charlie Rose, 75. Wow. So how far is this going to go? Is there going to be anybody left? It's just going to be you and me, Phil. Eight women say Charlie Rose accosted them in some way. Unbelievable. Okay. Coming up in just a couple of seconds on the Wells Report, we're going to spend a little bit of time discussing the concept of Republican toast. Republican toast. As we continue on the Wells Report, this is the USA Radio Network.
All right.
Charlie Rose.
Yeah, I was going to say he is pretty old.
Oh. Oh.
Hey, man, I will return in 1 minute. I'm running to the restroom.
And Hmm. What? Oh, did we ever find that? Did we ever find that sound? Flake, hot mic. Do you happen to have that sound, Michael?
No, I don't have it. But let me answer this call real quick.
Go ahead. Let's see. How could I? Oh, that's how I could do it. Hang on a minute. How's it going, boss? Are you listening to the show? Pretty good radio show going on in there. That must be it. Yeah, that must be it.
Hey, do you want me to look for that audio, man?
Damn it.
You want me to try to find the audio?
Why is this thing? What kind of time we dealing with here? Okay, we're all right.
You got 1 minute. You want me to try to find that audio real quick?
Hold on. Come on. Oh, all right. That's not right. That's the one I want. How much time have I got, Mike?
5 seconds.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is as follows. It's 844-927-6691. North to south, coast to coast. This is the Wells Report on the USA Radio Network. So what we have here is we have Flake, Senator Flake, on a hot mic, talking about some of the things that he believes about President Trump. And what he's been saying is that the things that I said on that hot mic were things I say in public all the time. I don't know that you've actually heard what he said, but it is as follows. If we become the party of Roy Moore and Donald Trump, we are toast. He's saying that to Mesa, Arizona Mayor John Giles. From the local station's cut, it's not entirely clear how Flake began the sentence, but Senator Flake's office told the station to use the words "if we" before the hot mic picked up his comments. If we become the party of Roy Moore and Donald Trump, we are toast. Do you agree with that statement? I'm only going to spend a couple of minutes on this. I want to know if you agree with that statement. If Republicans become the party of Roy Moore and Donald Trump, the party is toast. I think that's what Flake is trying to say. Telephone number is 844-927-6691. If you want to respond to this, you need to get to the phone immediately. Talk to me right this minute. Because I have some thoughts on this. I have some thoughts on it. Donald Trump got back on Twitter and tweeted the following: Jeff Flake, who was unelectable in the great state of Arizona, quit race, anemic polls, was caught purposely on a mic saying bad things about your favorite president. He'll be a no on tax cuts because his political career anyway is toast. It's true. It's absolutely true. So Flake has been very upset about all these things, and he says that Donald Trump somehow brings what? the American people back into the political process. That's what Donald Trump does for me. He brings the political process back to the people of the United States, because that's what the people did to bring Donald Trump to the political process of the United States. Telephone number again is 844-927-6691. If we Republicans become the party of Roy Moore and Donald Trump, we are toast. Is that what they're saying? Because I have a reply. I have a reply to that. And I'm very interested in hearing what you have to say first. If we become the party of Roy Moore and Donald Trump, we are toast. This is according to Senator Jeff Flake, soon to be the ex-senator of Arizona. Let me get to Gary in Fort Worth. Gary, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Wells Report. Hello.
Hello, John David Wells. I am pleased to hear your voice. I just discovered 1160 AM, and I'm so pleased it's there. Thank you.
I am glad that you are listening.
With regard, I don't recall the politician's name, but what you were saying that stated that if we become the party of Donald Trump
and Roy Moore,
we're toast.
Yeah.
Then those people who should not be our politicians will become toast. That is correct.
It's true. It's true.
We, the people, will not become toast.
And neither will the people that we choose.
That's correct.
Yeah, neither will the people that we choose. See, what happened is that all of these moderate Republicans that are playing both sides against the middle, they want to be Republicans and be conservative Republicans during elections, and then moderate Democrats when they actually get into office. Those guys are the ones whose careers are toast. That's what they're talking about here. Here's something that I want to ask you about. Thanks for the call, Gary. I appreciate it. By the way, if you have another comment on that, please join us, 844-927-6691. Let me explain this. The Republican Party has already become the party of McConnell and McCain. McConnell and McCain hold sway over this Republican Party. Isn't that a Republican Party toast? That's why there's a Donald Trump in the White House to begin with. The reason that there's Donald Trump to begin with is because of Mitch McConnell and probably John Boehner. John Boehner more than John McCain, but John McCain is, he's the I hate Republicans now in the first place. He's a Democrat. John McCain is a Democrat. There is no doubt about it. He is playing Republican. He's been playing Republican for years. The party is McConnell and Boehner. And that's why there's a Trump in the White House, because American Republicans have had enough. So Jeff Flake, a guy who was not going to win the election anyway, decides to stomp off in a huff, and over his shoulder he's heard to say, oh, and if we become the party of Roy Moore and Donald Trump, we're toast. Well, guess what? I say we're toast anyway because McConnell and Boehner wanted it that way. So while we're on the topic of being the party of Donald Trump, let's spend just a couple of seconds about what that means. Donald Trump brought back the immigration issue to American politics. It was all but dead. Nobody wanted to talk about it. Everybody wanted to keep Everybody wanted to keep this just the way it was, status quo ante, just let anybody come to America that wanted to. As a matter of fact, let's suspend the laws like DUI, kidnapping, rape. I mean, all these, you know what I'm really interested in? All of these leftist politicians that are now standing up there saying that it's like Chuck Schumer. They're saying this conduct has got to stop. This sexual harassment, this conduct. What about all the rapes and sexual crimes perpetrated on American citizens by illegal immigrants? I mean, you know what I would do? I know. You know what I would do? Here's what I would do. If I was Al Franken, what I'd do is I'd say I was an illegal immigrant. Problem's finished. Oh my God, he's an illegal. Well, we have to leave him alone then. Because people who, the people who are illegal immigrants that rape our kids and daughters and so on and so forth, we got to leave them alone. How about that? See, it's brilliant. President Trump brought back illegal immigration to the political debate. And he did it by saying one brilliant thing. And here's that brilliant thing. All of these politicians, McConnell, Boehner, Pelosi, Reid, all these people did the exact same thing. What they said is they decided that illegal immigrants were more important to the political process of the United States than American citizens. That's what they decided. They decided that illegal immigrants were more important to politics, that illegal immigrants were more important than American citizens. Unbelievable. It's just absolutely unbelievable. But that's exactly true. And I sat there and said, he really hit that one out of the park. So what we ended up doing was we ended up leaving the southern border of the United States wide open. It's been wide open since the war on terror began. And now we have another reason to build that wall. The death of Rogelio Martinez and his partner. Illegal immigrants reportedly assaulted 2 U.S. Border Patrol agents with rocks, killing one, seriously injuring another. Details are kind of murky. FBI spokespersons say that Rogelio Martinez and his partner were not shot. A National Border Patrol Council official told KTSM the assailants were undocumented immigrants who most likely used rocks to bash the agents. We strongly believe that rocks were used. The FBI has taken over the investigation into the death of Martinez and the injuring of his partner, who was not identified. The two were patrolling the Big Bend sector of Texas when the attack occurred. They were not fired upon. There's so many different agencies working together. We need to come together and develop a timeline. Martinez, who was from El Paso, had worked as a border agent since August of 2013, died of injuries sustained while responding to activity, quote unquote activity, near Interstate 10 in the Van Horn Station area. This is according to a news release from U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. He was on Interstate 10 near mile marker 151 when the incident occurred. At some point, Martinez's partner called to help, saying he and Martinez had both been injured. President Trump pushed the need for the proposed U.S.-Mexico border wall Sunday night following the incident, tweeting, "Border Patrol officer killed at southern border, another badly hurt. We will seek out and bring to justice those responsible. We must build the wall." Yes, we do. We need to build this wall. Enough's enough. These people come to our country, rape and kidnap our kids, drive DUI and kill us, get a free pass from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, if not outright sanctuary city status in gosh knows how many cities in America, killing our officials. And I ran out of time.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you have it.
So I got a little clip of, I found the Jeff Flake stuff, but I just found a little 10-second thing of him saying exactly what you got from. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I couldn't find it. I have a way to do it on my iPad, but I couldn't find the cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if they were assault rocks.
Tell you what, it must have been pretty big or something.
Say what?
It must have been pretty big or something, because how do you kill somebody with a rock?
Yeah. You know, they had a pistol grip on the rock, a flash suppressor, a detachable box magazine for little pebbles.
You see the USA Today, it was either last week or the week before. They were talking about the church shooter guy, and they said that his rifle had a what was it, a chainsaw modification mount.
Yeah, well, no, what happened was, no, that was a spoof.
No, that was serious. Everyone started, like, that's what they put. They said that it could have a chainsaw, whatever.
Yeah, that somebody came up with a chainsaw, a little mini chainsaw, looked like a bayonet. Yeah.
Then I saw a chainsaw on a chainsaw, and I saw like AR-15s on AR-15s, and they just kept getting progressively smaller. And then the last one had a chainsaw. Last week, someone, I think it was Friday, someone had did the AR-15 with Al Franken, the picture going like that. So Velociraptor mounts.
I have an assault rifle. Oh, let's see. I've got a 16-inch carbine, and I have bayonet mounts on all of those. And I have an M1 Garand with a bayonet mount on that. I have an M44 Mosin Nagant, which has a bayonet on it. And I had, let's see, I have, I've got a bunch of these, but I've got an M9 bayonet, and then I've got an M7 bayonet for my battle rifle. I've got a 20-inch AR-15, which is the M16A4, right? And so I've got a bayonet on that. So in case anybody feels hoppy around the cul-de-sac, I'll just roll out with the bayonet fixed. All right, now everybody go home. Poke you in the patootie. Man.
All right, back in 10 seconds.
10 dang seconds. Oh, my. All right. You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is, again, 844-927-6691. 844-927-6691. So, in the chat room of the YouTube live event where you can find the Wells Report, we're streaming live video. A couple of people are having a conversation regarding the rocks being used by the illegal immigrants to kill one Border Patrol agent and badly injure his partner. The NRA should join Democrats in banning assault rocks. And then Stephen comes back with, but there are so many rocks. I mean, and of course, that's the point. These are all very, very, very serious crimes being done by people who are living outside of American society, with American society's gleeful acceptance, or at least the politics of American society in gleeful acceptance of their bad behavior. We have to stop this. We have to stop this right this minute. These people can't come to the United States, live illegally, get a driver's license, and then beat our police officers to death with rocks. What are we waiting for? Why is it that we parse the feelings of these people? Look, you're here illegally. Go home. Or if you're not here illegally, or if you are here illegally and you know of somebody that just beat a Border Patrol agent to death with a rock, turn that person in. The people living here illegally need to clean up their own house. You know who the monsters are. Turn them in. You think these guys they just made a decision? The next Border Patrol agent I see, I'm going to beat to death with a rock. That's what I'm going to do. Who's with me? No, they thought about this for a while. They talked about this for a while. With whom? With someone who should have picked up the telephone and said, hey, my name is Armando Rodriguez. I'm an illegal alien. And a friend of mine who's also an illegal alien just said he was going to kill the next Border Patrol agent he sees with a rock. What do we have to do? What do we have to wait for? Politics? I'm tired of waiting for politics. I'm tired of waiting for these people to do the right thing. We've told them what to do. They don't do it. We've told them to stop doing the wrong thing, which is nothing. The president of the United States, arguably in that office because he said he was going to do something, is now fighting for, what, another 4 years before we do something about the dang wall? Rogelio Martinez left behind 5 kids. 5 kids. Something tells me that if he was patrolling a big concrete and steel wall, was 40 feet tall or so, if he was patrolling that instead of actually interacting with illegal immigrants who are already here, waiting for him in Big Bend on I-10 with a bunch of rocks, he'd still be alive today. What are we waiting for? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to figure out just exactly what kind of a human being it takes to beat a police officer to death with a rock. And I'm also trying to figure out the kind of person it takes to do nothing about someone here illegally beating one of our patrol officers to death with a rock. Why is it that I'm stuck doing nothing? Why am I stuck doing nothing when obviously politicians who make a living doing nothing keep doing nothing?
All right, sir.
Thank you, sir. So here we are. Home stretch.
Yeah. All right, back in 1 minute.
Right back in one damn minute. Hello. Thank you.
All right, back in 10.
Yep. You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. While a Border Patrol agent was losing his life for a salary somewhere around $85,000 a year, Marshawn Lynch, running back for the Oakland Raiders, was sitting on his athletically developed duff during the national anthem the other day, and then stood for the Mexican anthem at Azteca Stadium in Mexico City. It's a good thing that I'm not the coach of the Oakland Raiders. It's a good thing that I'm not this guy's coach. Because if I was Jack Del Rio, who is the current coach of the Oakland, soon-to-be Las Vegas Raiders, I would have left Marshawn Lynch and I would have missed Marshawn Lynch in Mexico City. I would have kicked him off the flight. I would say, gosh, you know what? Sorry. I just, stand for the Mexican anthem, sit for the United States national anthem. Obviously, you like Mexico. Why don't you stick around here a few days and just leave it alone? Now, that would probably cost Jack Del Rio his job. You know why? Because the NFL's lost it. And I don't know why the NFL lost it. They just lost it. But it seems to me that if you're making millions of dollars at a job title that has the word play in it, you are really screwing up by throwing shade on the national anthem of the greatest nation on the planet. Is that not true? I have made it a policy to be around for the playing of the national anthem at any given NFL game that I might be interested in watching. I did not see Marshawn Lynch doing this. I didn't see him doing it. If I had, I wouldn't have watched the game. But there's just something about watching Tom Brady play quarterback that is just pleasing to the eye. I've never seen anybody move so well in a pro backfield. Certainly not a quarterback. I've never seen anybody move like that. I've never seen a pro quarterback be able to throw like that, except, Troy Aikman. When Troy Aikman was in his prime, Troy could throw like that. Tom Brady is just amazing. And I've talked about him as an amazing quarterback before. But Marshawn Lynch threw dirt over the game, over his team, over that amazing performance by Tom Brady. He has done all those things. Stadiums are beginning to be empty for an NFL game. You didn't used to be able to come up with a ticket for an NFL game for love nor money. There's still places where that's the case. Still hard to find a seat in Cowboy Stadium. AT&T Stadium, still hard to get a seat. Still very expensive. Still worth it. But television ratings are down. And down hard. And it's like these players are the reason. It's so sad. NFL football has never been more entertaining. But it's like these guys just simply cannot deal with the prosperity. They just can't handle the prosperity. And so therefore they do the dumbest stuff. If you're making millions of dollars in a job title that has the word play in it, are you really screwing up by throwing shade on the national anthem? Yes or no? 844-927-6691. Have you really been able to stay away from NFL football this year? NFL football knows that's the problem because they have this commercial that they play in every game where players talk about the greatness of American fighting people and first responders and how important the country is and how honoring it makes so much sense. The league knows. But for the same reason that Jack Del Rio can't tell Marshawn Lynch to get off of his dead duff and stand for the national anthem, it's the same reason that Jack Del Rio can't leave Marshawn Lynch on the ground in Mexico City when the team plane takes off. I'd cut him. That's what I would do. But he's betting that he's the best there is. He's betting that no football team can do without him. Terrell Owens found out otherwise. Johnny Football found out otherwise. Colin Kaepernick is finding out otherwise. The game isn't as big as one player. It's far bigger than that. By the way, this just in, it does affect broadcasting across America. The Justice Department says it will file a lawsuit in federal court in an attempt to block the merger of AT&T and Time Warner. Don't know exactly what's going on, but there is a report by Tom Roberts.
The DOJ said Monday it believed the merger would reduce competition and innovation by merging Time Warner's content with AT&T's distribution platform. The department argued that the combined company would hinder its rivals by forcing them to spend more to distribute Time Warner networks. The $85 billion proposed merger has drawn criticism as a dangerous consolidation of the telecommunication and media industries. Tom Roberts, NBC News Radio.
Thanks very much, Tom. I appreciate that. So there you go. Just a little bit of information. This is incredibly sad. I mean, what are American people, what is the American people asking for here? They want to see the greatest athletes to ever play a given sport play that sport. They are willing to make it possible for teams to pay millions of dollars. And all we ask in return is to play that game at the high level that you've been trained to do and that God gave you the talent to do. To teach our sons and daughters how to be responsible stewards of the American experience. Teach our sons and daughters how to be good citizens. And to honor the country in which you live. That's all we ask. Is that really too much, Mr. Lynch? Is that truly too much? President Donald Trump, during a 13-day Asian tour, happened to be in China when 3 members of the UCLA basketball team decided that they just simply had to have some trinket in some store someplace in China. So they took it. Did they buy it? No, they stole it. They just walked out of the store with it. That, by the way, is a pretty serious crime in China. You can go to jail for 10 years for shoplifting in China. You know, if we had that law, people would stop shoplifting. There were 3 players, as I said. They all thanked the president for getting them out of trouble in China because the president interceded on their behalf. So here's what happened. LeVar Ball, the father of LiAngelo Ball, is unaccepting of what President Trump did for his son. Here's how the president responded via Twitter. Now that the 3 basketball players are out of China and saved from years in jail, LeVar Ball, the father of LiAngelo, is unaccepting of what I did for his son, and that shoplifting is no big deal. I should have left them in jail. LeVar Ball said who when asked about the president's role in the situation? What was he over there for? Don't tell me nothing. Everybody wants to make it seem like he helped me out. Yeah, he helped you out. Unless, of course, you don't give a dang about your son. He was going to spend 10 years in a Chinese jail. You know, as far as I know, there isn't an NBA development league in Chinese jails. Mr. Ball. Yeah, the president went over there to try to work on some very serious trade things that cost you and me and everybody else in the United States billions upon billions of dollars. And while he was there, he saved your son from 10 years in jail in a Chinese torture chamber. It is a big deal. The president of the United States saved your son's bacon. And a simple thank you would suffice, sir. What is this? How did we get to this point? How did we get to the point where anybody doing anything so kind, so important, so nice is just written off like it's nothing? You know, I remember I had massive trouble with the politics of President Obama. I had massive trouble with it. I watched the president run roughshod over the United States, over the free enterprise system, the Constitution. I saw that. But I also remember using that as an example. For my friends, I said, what would you do if President Obama showed up at your house, knocked on the door at dinner time? What would you do? What I would do is I'd open the door and say, welcome, Mr. President. Welcome to the house. Can I get you something? We're about to have dinner. Would you like to join us? That's with a guy whose politics I despise. But he's the president of the United States. I stood up very strongly for all those people that did not want to call him Mr. President and so on, just like they did with President Bush. I said, no, he's the president of the United States, and we're going to honor him as such. And on this broadcast, we did. And we need to do it again. This is the Wells Report.
Yeah, I remember all that stuff, man.
Yep.
I remember people saying the same thing. Not my president, But here's the thing. Yeah, they might have said it, but they weren't doing stuff like people are doing today.
Yeah, that's fact.
Yeah. You know, they regularly tear up his star on Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah, I understand. It's like, seriously? Seriously?
I seen a video of a girl who got jumped for trying to clean it up.
Yeah, I saw that too. Pretty dang bad.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, man.
Pretty dang bad. I shared the shot if. Doobie-doo. Jeez. Charlie Rose. Seriously? Wow.
All right, you got 30 seconds.
30 dang seconds. You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 844-927-6691. So, today was an interesting day. Today, there was a bit of resolution after what was perhaps one of the most shocking murder sprees in the history of the human endeavor. October 8th and 9th, 1969, members of the Manson family took off on a series of notorious and brutal killings. 5 people would die, one of them pregnant. 4 members of the family invaded the home of married celebrity couple, actress Sharon Tate and director Roman Polanski in Los Angeles. They murdered Tate, who was 8.5 months pregnant, along with three friends who were visiting at the time. Also an 18-year-old visitor who was slain as he departed the home. Polanski was not present. He was working on a film in Europe. Tex Watson did the killing under the direction of Charles Manson. Watson drove with Susan Atkins, Linda Kasabian, Patricia Krewinkle from Spawn Ranch to the residence on Cielo Drive. Manson, an aspiring musician, had previously attempted to enter into a recording contract with record producer Terry Melcher, who was a previous renter of the house, along with musician Mark Lindsay, formerly of Paul Revere and the Raiders. Melcher's then ex-girlfriend, or then girlfriend, actress Candice Bergen, was also part of that. Melcher had snubbed Manson, leaving him angry. On the night of August 8th, Tex Watson took Susan Atkins to that house where Melcher used to live and told them to totally destroy everyone in it as gruesomely as you can. Krewinkle was one of the early family members and one of the hitchhikers who had allegedly been picked up by Dennis Wilson and the Beach Boys. The occupants of the home were all strangers to the Manson followers. They were movie actresses, fashion models, a hairstylist named Jay Sebring, Abigail Folger, heiress to the Folger coffee fortune. Watson, who had been at the house at least one other occasion, climbed on a telephone pole, cut the phone line to prevent the telephone access to the house. It was after midnight, August 9th. The group backed their car to the bottom of the hill that led to the estate, parked, and walked back to the house. And the rest is murderous, horrifyingly terrible history. Charles Manson died today. He was 83 years old. What ended up happening is that he had been sentenced to death along with many of the other of the Manson family. They'd been sentenced to death, but the ban against the death penalty saved their lives. Until what could end up happening is that we could say goodbye to Manson today. By the way, it was yesterday that Charles Manson died, but I wanted to make sure that you understood that this horrifyingly terrible man was gone. And with him, at least one part of the nation's most infamous mass murders. There you go.
All right, man. Good show.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
And have yourself a good one, and take good care.
All right, man. Yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow. We got a little I'll talk to you tomorrow, man.
Talk to you later. Bye.
All right, bye.